Hey everyone, it's Colin. How's it going? For some, the speaker in the original Game Boy Advance is a bit on the weak side. This time, let's take a look at a mod that promises to pump up the volume. This is the GBA audio amp kit from Retro Modding, who sent it my way to review. It includes a custom-designed amplifier module, a replacement speaker, and a few other pieces to hook it all up. I opted to install the amp in my backlit modded console, but the process is the same for any original GBA. Of course, it all starts with taking the Game Boy apart. I pulled out my rechargeable battery pack and took off the back housing. I removed the screws from the circuit board, then fired up my soldering iron and desoldered the original speaker. The kit comes with pieces of wire already cut to length, which I soldered to the pads on the amp module. Then I trimmed the wires for the replacement speaker down to size and soldered them to the amp module's outputs. I peeled the paper backing off of the adhesive on the front edge of the speaker, then stuck it in place where the original one went. It fit perfectly. Next up was soldering the amp module into the GBA. I started with the blue wire, which goes to the positive speaker output. The yellow wire ties into the console's headphone jack. The red power wire goes to the positive side of both of these capacitors, which was a bit tricky due to how small they are. The ground wire was easier as it went to the negative side of this larger surface mount capacitor. To keep the amp module from shorting anything out, I wrapped it in some Kapton tape. The kit includes a piece of heat shrink tubing which you could use instead, but just remember to slip it over the board before soldering it in place. Then it was just a matter of putting everything back together. I made sure to position the amp module towards the bottom of the console so it wouldn't interfere with any of the standoffs inside the back housing. So what about the results? Well, it's definitely louder. Just a small turn of the volume wheel gets the console to about the same level as it originally was on maximum. Turn it up more and it'll fill a room. Here's a comparison between an unmodded console and one with the amp, both turned just halfway up. The replacement speaker is included in the kit because it can handle the extra power. The original one would likely get fried if connected to the amp module. The new amp only affects the speaker volume. It still turns off automatically when you plug in headphones, and in fact doesn't change the headphone output at all. Yet during testing, I noticed something interesting. On regular AA batteries, either alkaline or rechargeable, everything sounds just fine. But when I used Retro Modding's custom LiPo battery, there occasionally was a strong background buzz. I suspect this is due to the voltage regulation circuitry on the battery. The buzz was likely there before I installed the amp module, but the amp does make it noticeable when it happens. The installation was pretty straightforward, but you'll want to have a bit of soldering experience before tackling it. Also, the full kit goes for $35 US plus shipping, which on its face is kind of expensive. But as usual with custom retro handheld parts, prices are going to be a bit higher due to the small quantities in which they're made. All that said though, the amp certainly does as it claims. It dramatically increases the speaker's volume over that of an original console. So as the product page for the module says, when you play AGB, so will your neighbors. Thanks goes to Retro Modding for sending me the amp kit to check out. I'll include a link down in the description. If you liked the video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at thisdoesnotcomp. And as always, thanks for watching.